As Hurricane Milton barrels towards Florida and millions of people are still struggling to recover from Helene, lots of folks seem to be confused about what FEMA can legally do to help the victims. So I want to explain it in this video. Now, just so we're clear, everything I'm about to tell you is based on a law passed by Congress. Those laws say there's a lot FEMA can do to help people. But what FEMA cannot do is replace everything you lost. That's not what FEMA does. FEMA does not make you whole. FEMA can help supplement your insurance or help you if you're underinsured and can help you with immediate emergency needs. They can also help local and state governments with their immediate and long-term recovery needs. But FEMA cannot do anything for anybody until a governor declares a state of emergency in the affected area and the President of the United States approves that disaster declaration. So in the cases of both Helene and Milton, those disaster declarations were requested by multiple governors and approved by President Biden long before the storms hit. If there's no disaster declaration for your area, then no FEMA money or resources can be spent there. Now that that's clear, lots of people have been concerned about whether the FEMA assistance is a loan they have to pay back. The answer is no. Generally, FEMA assistance is not a loan. It's a grant that is not taxable and is not counted as income. However, if you do receive FEMA assistance, you must use it for the disaster recovery needs you say you need it for, and you must keep documentation of that. If you don't use the money for your recovery needs, Congress passed a law that says the federal government will require you to pay the money back. Or if you receive FEMA money and then later receive insurance benefits or get another grant to cover the exact same expenses, you will also have to pay the FEMA money back. Now, if you get a disaster loan from the Small Business Administration, that's obviously a loan. You will have to pay that back, but that's different than FEMA aid. Does that make sense? Now, because there's lots of folks who are not actually victims who want to scam the system and get a hold of all this money, Congress has also required victims to qualify for FEMA aid. To qualify, a victim must be a U.S. citizen, a green card holder, or a specific other type of non-citizen. Migrants who have entered the United States illegally are not eligible for FEMA disaster assistance. FEMA must be able to verify the victim's identity, usually through a social security number or through other government records. A victim can only qualify for FEMA assistance if the insurance or other form of disaster assistance already received does not meet the victim's disaster-caused needs, and the victim can only qualify if their necessary expenses and serious needs are directly caused by the declared disaster. So let's take FEMA's housing assistance program as an example. That's just one of the programs available. If the roof blows off your house in a declared disaster zone directly because of, let's say, Hurricane Milton, you have to meet all the FEMA qualifications I just described, but then you also have to prove that the disaster damaged home is your primary residence, and you have to prove that you actually own the house. And in that case, FEMA still is not going to fully cover the cost of getting you a new roof. Your homeowner's insurance will have to pony up first, and then whatever they don't cover, FEMA will issue you a grant, but only up to a certain amount of money, which was determined by Congress. That grant amount differs depending on which program you're talking about. It's also worth noting aid is also available for victims through your local or state governments or through local charities. There's lots of opportunity there too. That said, if you are in a declared disaster zone for either Hurricane Helene or Hurricane Milton, you can apply for FEMA assistance through disasterassistance.gov, or you can call 800-621-3362. And if you don't have access to cell or internet service, FEMA personnel are walking around the affected areas and are able to sign you up in person.